Good morning. I'm Ed McNeil, Marketing and Communications Director for the City of Winston-Salem, and it's my pleasure to welcome each of you to the Benton as we gather to celebrate the graduation of Winston-Salem Police Department's Police Academy Class 72. Please rise as the recruits from our 72nd Academy enter the room with the WSPD training staff. And please remain standing as the WSPD's Honor Guard presents our national colors, as well as for the singing of the national anthem by Police Officer Florette Gregory Phillips. During the singing of the national anthem, it is the protocol of the Winston-Salem Police Department that sworn law enforcement officers salute if they are wearing a hat, and non-sworn staff place their right hand over their hearts. And we'd be honored if you would join us accordingly.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Please be seated.
I said it too. Take seat.
Our invocation this morning will come from WSPD Chaplain Dr. Ronnie Beatty.
May we pray. Our Father, we're very grateful to you for this wonderful, wonderful time when we celebrate this great event, when our recruits officially become a part of the Winston-Salem Police Department. I pray for them. I ask you, Lord, to give them good health as they serve. We ask that you give them protection and put a hedge of protection around them, that they, at the close of each shift, may be able to safely go home to their families. We pray for longevity for them, and not only for them, but for all of our men and women who patrol the streets of Winston-Salem, that they may be able to run their course sufficiently and effectively and with dignity. Bless the proceedings here today, we pray. Get glory and honor to your name. And we will thank you because we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. On October 9th, 2017, the 72nd Winston-Salem Police Academy convened, and the men and women we will recognize today began a quest to become Winston-Salem police officers. The coming weeks were filled with challenges, difficulties, and great accomplishments, all culminating today with the 33 individuals seated before you. They have fulfilled that journey and now begin a new pursuit, one of public service, self-sacrifice, and we wish them the best in their new careers. The city of Winston-Salem is guided by a council made up of 8 members and headed by a mayor. Mayor Joines wasn't able to attend today because of a commitment he made months ago. We'll hear from him, though, in a moment on video. But speaking for the mayor and council this morning is Councilmember Dan Bessie of the Southwest Ward. He was first elected to the city council in 2001. He's a public interest attorney. He is also an educator, working as an adjunct and visiting professor at, among others, Winston-Salem State University and North Carolina State University. He's a graduate of the UNC Chapel Hill School of Law and the chairman of the city's Public Works Committee. Please welcome council member of the Southwest Ward, Dan Bessie.
Thank you, Ed. It is a great honor to have been asked to speak on behalf of the mayor and city council of Winston-Salem to welcome all of you this morning to this important event, the graduation and recognition ceremony for Class 72 of the Winston-Salem Police Department Police Academy. I want to recognize that 2 of my other colleagues are able to be with us this morning. We have Councilmember Jeff McIntosh from the Northwest Ward. We have Councilmember James Taylor and Chair of the Public Safety Committee from the Southeast Ward, or as James never tires of telling us, the sensational Southeast Ward. So you see, the council from one part of the city to the other is with you today, and we welcome all of you here. There is no more important duty that we have as the elected representatives of this community than seeing to the public safety of our people. And there is no more important way that we do that than seeing to it that our police department has the leadership and resources necessary to support our police force and to train our new members. I want to thank each of you for answering the call to public service. We know that today is a very challenging time for those who serve as the police and protectors of our communities. It takes a rare combination of gifts, of mental and physical fitness, of readiness to put yourself in harm's way on behalf of your fellow residents and citizens, and still have the human touch to be able to relate to each person in our community, and so work in the only way that works for the long run to keep our community safe with the faith, trust, and support of our community. We believe that each of you has that rare combination of gifts, and we look forward to your serving as police officers in Winston-Salem. I want to extend our thanks also to the families and friends of each of our new recruits who are with us today and those who couldn't be with us. We know you didn't run the miles or take the tests along with your recruits, but you were there for them. You were there with them in your hearts and minds, and you were there to support them when they left the training and came home, and they couldn't have done it without you, and therefore the city of Winston-Salem couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much for being a part of that. And once again, thank you to each of you, to our serving officers, to our new recruits, to our families, for being a part of this mission to keep our community safe, and for being here today. Thank you so much.
As I mentioned earlier, the mayor was not able to attend, but he did make this video so that you would hear from him on your graduation day.
Good morning. I'm Alan Joins, Mayor of Winston-Salem, and I'm so sorry I can't be with you this morning for this extremely important day in the lives of these young men and women, as well as the life of the city of Winston-Salem, as we celebrate and thank these individuals who have stepped up to help provide public safety protection for the citizens of Winston-Salem. I regret I can't be with you today because I'm out of town, but today's event is so important that I wanted to have this opportunity to thank these individuals for answering the call to provide public safety to our citizens. You know, that's probably one of the main functions that a local government has, and that's to make sure our citizens are safe, fire and police protection being those two main things that we provide. You know, as an elected official, we're trying to make sure that our police officers have the best training, the best equipment, and the best supervision and plans that will allow them to do great work for our city. So on behalf of all of our citizens, there are 242,000 of us now in Winston-Salem, I express my sincere appreciation to each one of you for becoming a police officer within the city of Winston-Salem. I know it's a very difficult job. Our police officers are asked to do so many different things today, but you're being trained to handle all of them very well. So my best wishes to you for a very safe and a productive and rewarding career with the city of Winston-Salem. Thank you.
Councilmember James Taylor is in his second term as a council member of the Southeast Ward, a 2003 graduate of the Criminal Justice Program at North Carolina Central University in Durham. He is the current chairman of our Public Safety Committee. Please welcome council member from the Southeast Ward, James Taylor, Jr.
Good morning. I bring greetings on behalf of the Public Safety Committee for the City of Winston-Salem. As Councilmember Bessie knew was coming, I also greet you on behalf of the residents of the sensational Southeast Ward. It's truly an honor and privilege to stand before you today on this great occasion. I have the honor and privilege of introducing our Speaker of the Hour, Attorney General Stein. But before I do so, I want to take a moment of personal privilege and thank the brave men and the brave women of the Winston-Salem Police Department who, and I admit, I am biased, I always say this, but I believe we have the best police department in the United States of America, and that is also contributing to our police recruit class 72. I also want to take a moment and thank you for both hearing and answering the call to service. I've never been a police officer, but I do know as an elected official, as a public servant, there are a lot of times where there's going to be long days and there's long nights. But as a native son of this community, nothing gives me more pleasure than working for the city. And nothing gives me more pleasure than standing here today, welcoming you to the police department and thanking you for the job that you've done and that you will do. To the family, thank you for sharing your men and your women with us every day, every night, putting their lives on the line every single day to provide a quality of service for the people of this community. As Kevin Durant said, I think it's appropriate in the NBA Finals, you are the real MVPs. So please, friends, family, if you would join me and giving Police Class 72 a round of applause. Thank you. and I certainly mean that sincerely. Now to the speaker of the hour, Attorney General Josh Stein. Josh Stein was sworn in as North Carolina's 50th Attorney General in January the 1st, 2017. Stein is focused on protecting North Carolina families from crime and from consumer fraud. Stein has made combating the opioid crisis a top priority. His office drafted the STOP Act to reduce the number of people who become addicts to opioids through smarter prescribing practices, and the Synthetic Opioid Control Act to close loopholes in state criminal law concerning fentanyl. Both laws passed the General Assembly unanimously and were signed into law by the governor. Prior to being elected Attorney General, Josh Stein served as state senator and as deputy Attorney General in the North Carolina Department of Justice. In state Senate, Stein successfully led efforts to put more violent criminals behind bars by expanding the state's DNA database. Stein wrote the School Safety Act and legislation that bans stalking using GPS tracking services. For his work in the state Senate, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD, and the AARP of North Carolina each named him as Legislator of the Year, and his Republican and Democratic colleagues ranked him as the most effective Democratic senator. As Senior Deputy Attorney General, Stein worked to protect kids from online sexual predators and to help run the payday lenders, charging loan shark interest rates out of the state. Stein previously taught high school in Zimbabwe and served as legal counsel in the United States Senate and worked with 2 economic development organizations in North Carolina. Stein is a graduate of Dartmouth College and earned law and public policy degrees from Harvard University. He and his wife Anna have 3 children who all attend North Carolina public schools like they did. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause for Attorney General Josh Stein.
Good morning, everybody. What a day. This is an awesome day. Councilmember Taylor, thank you for that very nice introduction. And Councilmember Taylor, McIntosh, and Bessie, Chief Thompson, Manager Garrity, officers, graduates, family members, and friends, it is my distinct honor and privilege to be with you all on this happy and solemn occasion. I want to congratulate you, the members of Class 72, for your graduation from the Winston-Salem Police Academy's Basic Law Enforcement Training course. Today is an exciting day for you and your families as you celebrate a wonderful accomplishment that will shape your futures. I also want to thank you. Entering the field of law enforcement is not a choice anyone takes lightly. It's hard work, it's dangerous work, it's underappreciated work, and it is important and meaningful work. As North Carolina's Attorney General, my top priority is exactly the same as yours, which is to do everything I can to keep the people I serve safe. Now, fortunately, there's no physical fitness test for Attorney General. I'll leave that to you folks. I want to spend a little time this morning talking about law enforcement and some of the unique challenges and opportunities that you'll face in your careers. In June of 2016, so not that long ago, Gallup did a poll on all American institutions, or the major ones, and police ranked as the 3rd most trusted, higher than churches, the medical system, our schools, the Supreme Court, the presidency, and many other institutions that we value and that our nation depends on to function. In a time when overall trust in institutions is decreasing, it is impressive that the work of your future colleagues are doing, and that you will soon be doing, is earning this high level of public trust and confidence. Serving your community and protecting the people you serve is an admirable goal. I can't think of anything more worthy. I recently read an article about the chief of police of Burlington, Vermont, who went to the same college I did. And he's someone I admire. He's a former member of the National Guard. He served in the NYPD during 9/11. He's put to work many innovations in policing and has community, embracing new technology to better understand and combat crime, working closely with city leaders to improve community policing, and taking a hands-on approach to confronting the opioid epidemic. And when he spoke to a recent group of college graduates, so not just BLET graduates, but broader college graduates, he talked about the impact law enforcement officers can have on the places where they live. Chief Del Pozo said, if you want to go right to the heart of the issues that people are wrestling with in America today, being a police officer is going to take you there and hold you there faster and longer than anything else you can do with your time. And it requires courage. As soon as you are officially in uniform and on the job, which the chief told me is going to be on Monday, so just around the corner, you will immediately have an ability to impact the lives of your neighbors and to improve the city of Winston-Salem. It is an awesome opportunity, and I just hope you are raring to go. I know you're going to have trouble sleeping on Sunday night. But that's not to say everything about the job will be positive. Despite those impressive Gallup rankings, there are real and significant challenges facing law enforcement today. It is as challenging as it has ever been. In addition to being a peace officer, you are expected to be a mental health and substance use counselor, a foster parent, and a social worker, among other challenging work. But as the needs of our community changes, so must the responsibilities of law enforcement. And that means training is more important than ever. I know that you have been well educated and trained by your BLET program with a curriculum set by the Criminal Justice Training and Standards Division, which is actually within the Department of Justice. And I was pleased to appoint last year one of your fellow Winston-Salem officers, Sergeant David Rose, to serve on that commission. So if you didn't like the curriculum, take it out on Sergeant Rose. I hope you and the Winston-Salem Police Department will continue to take advantage of ongoing training opportunities that the North Carolina Justice Academy offers, which is also part of the North Carolina Department of Justice, as you do your in-service training. Because we need you to develop the skills and flexibility to succeed. We offer courses there in use of force decision-making, tactical leadership, taking race relations and understanding to heart, verbal judo, implicit racial bias, and community policing, just to name a very few. These classes help equip law enforcement officers for the complicated, dangerous, and challenging situations that you're bound to encounter. The truth is that there is real crime in our communities, and you will be put into scary situations. When a dangerous situation arises and everyone else flees, you actually have to run toward that danger. It is an awesome responsibility. And your BLET training, the on-the-job experience you will gain, and your ongoing education from the Justice Academy and other in-service training are weapons that I hope and believe will be equally as important to you in carrying out your job as your badge and gun will be, if not more so. The Chinese general and philosopher Sun Tzu said, "To subdue your opponent without fighting is the greatest skill." As you likely know, North Carolina, like much of the nation, is currently facing a shortage of qualified law enforcement officers. I'm really pleased, though, the chief told me this is one of the largest BLET graduation classes in the last few years. So I'm excited to see that trend, and let's hope it continues in that direction. As I travel the state and talk to chiefs of police and sheriffs, they tell me that they're having trouble hiring and retaining qualified folks. And as you enter the force, I hope that you appreciate that you're not only serving your community as an officer in the job, but you are serving an example of what law enforcement can be to recruit other good people into the profession. When you drive by a playground on patrol, or when you talk about work with your friends and family, when you're running errands or picking up groceries, people will be watching you. Your uniform is a magnet to the eyes of your community. So whenever possible, I encourage you to find opportunities to show them the human being that's inside your uniform. Your good example can shine a light on a rewarding career in law enforcement. And your every interaction can serve as a recruiting tool as you build trust in the community. I want to do my part to address this shortage. So I'm working with the North Carolina General Assembly on a law enforcement recruitment tool to help get other talented young people like you into law enforcement. As you leave here today as graduates of BLET training and as sworn law enforcement officers, I expect you're going to have a lot on your minds. What will it be like to actually be on the job? What kind of cases will I work? Will I make a difference? Am I going to be on a reality show? What am I going to eat for lunch after the ceremony? Only you can answer these questions, but I do want to leave you with a few thoughts. There are certain qualities that a successful law enforcement officer needs. Law enforcement officers must be smart, both book smart to know the law and people smart to know how to successfully navigate human interactions. To be able to think quickly, to have good judgment, to be able to see what is happening around you, and to be able to anticipate people's behavior, it is all critical to successfully performing your duties. You must also be courageous. As I said, you will be put into and put yourself into situations that most sane people seek to avoid. To put yourself on the line to protect others requires great bravery, and it is incredibly admirable. You must be public-spirited. That is, you will spend your days with a focus on protecting, building, and strengthening your community, even when you are confronted with some of its saddest and darkest aspects. These are not traits one necessarily finds in each person one meets. In fact, they are not found in most people we meet. And it is uncommon to find all three in one person. But by being here today, you clearly possess those three. And what's exciting is that with experience, you can further nurture, cultivate, and develop these traits over time. The standards to which we hold our public servants, particularly law enforcement officers, is high, and appropriately so. But instead of finding that pressure challenging or frustrating, I urge you to embrace it. Throughout your career, find ways to show the communities you serve here in Winston-Salem that trust they are placing in you is well-deserved. In a minority of folks, there's some skepticism out there about law enforcement officers. Consider that a challenge to overcome. Just last week, there was a huge outcry over a police arrest at a Starbucks in Philadelphia. I wasn't there. I do not know the full context of what happened that day, but I do know it illustrates what I'm talking about. As you do your job, eyes will be on you at all times. Now, contrast that Philadelphia Starbucks story with another Starbucks story, one that happened here in Winston-Salem earlier this year. You may have seen the same stories I did. There was a Starbucks employee, Shante Blakes, who was working the 4:30 a.m. shift at the coffee shop. Her childcare fell through. She was left in the lurch. She took her baby to work with her that morning. She took the baby there. She's trying to do her job, care for her infant. Well, troopers Brad Marshall and Austin White stopped by for some early morning Java. That's something you're going to learn quickly on the job. When you do those late night shifts, you're going to know where all the 24-hour coffee shops are. Well, they actually stayed and helped sit with that baby for some time so Shante could finish her shift. I am certain that is not in their job description. But it is a great example of how law enforcement can bring people together and build trust in our communities. I'm exceedingly excited for each one of you. I know that with your education, your training, the experience that you will gain, the advice that you will receive from veterans, you can become highly successful law enforcement officers here in Winston-Salem. To the parents, spouses, children, friends, and other loved ones here, you also will play an important role in their success. Having a loved one in the line of duty can be incredibly challenging. The hours, the stress, the fears, it's all real. You can't pretend they don't exist. But I also know that your love and support will lift your law enforcement loved one after long and difficult days. They're going to experience things that you can't even really understand. Thank you for being a part of their service, for nurturing the flame of service that burns inside each one of them, that put them in these chairs here today. I want to congratulate everyone in this room for the accomplishment of your sitting here. But more importantly, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work you will do to keep North Carolina's communities safe. We appreciate you, and you have my best wishes on a long, successful, and productive career. Congratulations.
Thank you, Attorney General Stein. Now, please allow me to take a moment to introduce the full-time training staff. These dedicated individuals are committed to the success of the organization through the development and education of its personnel. This staff works tirelessly on numerous projects and programs while providing unwavering support to both the recruits and the veteran officers. On many days, the training staff arrives before dawn to begin physical training, and they don't leave until late into the evening. They are truly a team of professionals who devote all their efforts into molding these individuals into a team and part of Winston-Salem's finest. Please stand when your name is called. Assistant Chief Natasha Miles, Captain David Perry, Lieutenant Catherine Patterson, Sergeant Marcus Hamilton, Sergeant Michael Fleming, Sergeant Brian Ashley, Corporal Jeremy Henry, Corporal James Gerald, Corporal Thomas Day, Corporal Mark Bollinger, Police Officer Brian Dawson, Senior Office Assistant Ms. Jean Johnson. Please join me in giving these individuals a well-deserved round of applause. If you're a member of the recruiting division, please stand. Not everyone who wants to become a police officer is accepted into the academy. The men and women you see standing are the members of the team who reviewed more than 300 applications to seat the group that included Class 72. The recruiting staff for Police Academy Class 72 included the following: Sergeant Varen Chu, Corporal Sheena Nelson, Corporal Kayla Caffey, Officer Rodney Hutchins, Officer Jimmy Falk, Officer Jared Barnes, retired police officers Robert Boyd, Lyman Clark, Debbie Wilkins, Paul O'Neill, Al Vance, James Johnson, David Lamb. Please join me in giving these individuals a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I'll ask now that all instructors that assisted in any of the academy instruction and the graduating officers' field trainers please rise. There are more than 100 state-certified instructors in the department and Forsyth Tech who contributed to the training of our cadets. These are but a small sampling of the instructor pool that provided more than 1,000 hours of instruction. Their dedication and hard work is a testament to their professionalism. Among these standing are representatives of the Post-Academy Training Program. They are the field training officers. The WSPD's Post-Academy Training Program involves the assignment of an entry-level officer to a field training officer, an FTO, who serves as the guide to the inexperienced officer. The FTO undertakes a dual role, patrol officer and trainer. As a trainer, the FTO must build upon the primary education the entry-level officer has received. The FTO is the primary force that molds the new officer into a professional, productive member of the WSPD. Please join me in thanking the Academy instructors and field training officers. Thank you all. Now, as is customary for Academy graduation, one recruit will deliver the graduation speech on behalf of Class 72. The recruits from Class 72 voted to have one of their classmates represent them with the graduation speech. Class 72 selected recruit Patrick Gagan.
Good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to thank our keynote speaker, Attorney General Stein, for coming today. Also, thank you to the city council members, the city manager, the command staff, fellow officers, family, friends, and Class 72. Thank you all for coming to this very special day. This day that couldn't come soon enough for some, but came so quick for others. For most of us, this is only our second graduation, the first one being our high school graduation. And for some, this is our third or even fourth, following college or military graduations. That being said, I can't remember who spoke at my graduation, nor do I have a clue what was said. So acknowledging that fact, if I can't make the speech memorable, I will at least make it short. Class 72 is made of a very widespread demographic, from California to Texas to New York and Florida. Each one of us being from very different places and having a plethora of knowledge and experiences that will contribute to our community-based policing and add yet another tool to our belt. Basic law enforcement training was a great equalizer. Nothing really mattered but our will to succeed, not your color, ethnic background, education, or social status. I would say size, but our physical training and motivation from our very kind and just training staff took care of that. During basic law enforcement training, one of the many things that is drilled in our heads, quite literally and figuratively during Red Man, is to get off the tracks. This is a term taught to us during subject control and arrest techniques. It means that we aren't to be standing in the same fixed position during an altercation or interaction with a person or subject. By being in the same fixed position, this allows the subject to predict and contemplate our next move and gives them the upper hand. By constantly moving or changing position, this creates a variable that will keep the subject guessing and never give them the confidence that they have the opportunity to strike first. I bring this up because not only is getting off the tracks an important physical technique for us to remember, but is also the mindset that every person should have. General orders change, times change, people change, and if we get too complacent and don't adapt and evolve to our surroundings, if we stay on the same tracks our whole life, it can lead to a very predictable and very preventable end. The last 200 or so days have been some of the toughest of our lives. For some physically, for some mentally. Training is comprised of 36 separate blocks of instruction to include topics such as firearms, driver training, motor vehicle law, and arrest, search, and seizure. All of which we are expected to retain, given the short amount of time we are taught it. Basic law enforcement training is filled with practical exercises and an extensive ethics section that is woven throughout the training experience. It takes about 16 weeks to complete and concludes with a comprehensive written exam and skills testing. Our training is constantly evolving and only getting more and more as time goes by. We are not taught the same exact things previous academies are taught. For example, it is part of our basic training to go through solo active shooter response conditioning. We learn and develop the firearm skills needed when and if we ever encounter such an event. On February 14th, after hours of classroom instruction, we finally go hands-on with a mock scenario at a local school. We are practicing how to enter, clear, room by room, the school. The training is intense, and we tell ourselves that nothing like that ever really happens around here. Lunchtime rolls around, but little did we know, 18 minutes into our lunch, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, will experience an active shooter situation that will ultimately end up killing 14 students and 3 teachers. Past academies were not taught this in such depth, not because it was deemed unimportant, because it wasn't a practical reality we face today. I don't bring up this horrific act to lay sorrow or melancholy on our graduation day. I bring it up to reassure our citizens that we, as a police force, are forever learning and adapting to the world we live in. The new crimes and cowardly acts of infamy today are being met with even higher precautionary measures and skill sets no past police force or agency has ever had. We are the new generation of police. Without further delay, I would like to give a special thanks to our training staff and everyone who helped us learn everything we know these past 7 months. And I'd like to be one of the first to say, congratulations, Class 72.
Thank you, Recruit Gil Hagan. Gagan. I can't believe I messed up that name, but thank you. Traditionally, the Winston-Salem Police Department presents special awards during graduation to members of each class who have distinguished themselves during academy training. Today, we honor 3 members of Class 72. The following awards are the Vivian H. Burke Character Award, the Honor Graduate Award, and our highest award, the Lieutenant Aaron G. Tice Colleague Award. We'll begin with the Vivian H. Burke Character Award. Please welcome City Manager Lee Garrity.
Good morning. Before I present the award, I want to express the regrets of Mayor Pro Tem Vivian H. Burke. Many of you know she has served on this city council for 40 years. She was the chair of the Public Safety Committee for 36 years. She has a minor twisted ankle and isn't able to be here today, but she wanted me to express her congratulations to the recruits and her warm welcome to this family that you all are joining in Winston-Salem. The dictionary defines character as those attributes that people demonstrate when no one is looking. It's easy to, put on the good show when you need to, but it's who you really are when no one is looking. The Vivian H. Burke Character Award is named for Mayor Pro Tem Vivian Burke. We started giving this award out about 3 years ago. This award is given to the recruit in each police and fire training class who best exhibits those characters of integrity, ethical behavior, team building. Over the years, Mayor Pro Tem Burke has taught many, many children, many, many adults, many of us, those attributes of service and character. Today, I am honored to present the Vivian H. Burke Character Award for Class 72 to recruit Lauren Brown.
The Honor Graduate Award to be presented by Assistant Chief Natasha Miles and Beth Hutchins, the widow of Sergeant Mickey Hutchins, who was killed in the line of duty on October 12, 2009.
Interest level training for BLET Class 72 police trainees consisted of 1,000+ hours of law enforcement training in 36 different subjects that required a written exam and in some subjects a practical application test. The Honor Graduate Award is presented each year to the trainee who has the highest academic grade average overall. The class academic grade average was 95.56. Class 72 honor graduate completed the training with a 98.17 grade point average. The Honor Graduate Award for Class 72 goes to recruit Tanner Somerville.
Is Miss Beth Hutchins here? Okay.
The BLET Honor Graduate Award is in honor of Sergeant Mickey Hutchins, who was killed in the line of duty. His wife, Beth Hutchins, typically presents this award to the trainee with the highest academic grade point average in honor of her husband. But today, on her behalf, I'll present this award to Police Officer Tanner. Somerville, I'm sorry.
Now for the highest award an Academy member can receive. This award is one which each officer present here today is familiar with and cherishes as a symbol and a reminder of the great price members of this profession might be asked to pay for the privilege of serving in law enforcement. Assistant Chief Scott Bricker will now present the Lieutenant Aaron G. Tice Colleague Award.
Good morning. First, let me tell you, it's a high privilege for me to present this award, the Lieutenant Tice Colleague Award, and I want to introduce to everyone his widow. Lieutenant Tice was killed in the line of duty many years ago when I was just a rookie. This is Mrs. Tice with me here today.
Yeah.
If you were to take a survey asking a community to identify those qualities it desires in its police officers, the list would likely include words such as honest, hardworking, competent, and professional, just to name a few. If you were to survey a police department asking officers to identify those qualities they desire in a coworker, you would likely see the same words I've already mentioned. Additionally, you would see phrases such as courageous, strong, trustworthy, and dependable. A few weeks before each recruit class graduation, all members of the class are asked to vote for one of their peers who they believe best demonstrates those qualities that we all recognize within the best men and women our profession has to offer. Class 72 has chosen that representative from within its ranks. The Lieutenant Aaron Jerome Tice Jr. Colleague Award for Class 72 is presented to recruit Jason Kloss.
Sergeant Hamilton, as the duly appointed Basic Law Enforcement Training Sergeant for the Winston-Salem Police Department, do you personally certify that the students of Class 72 of the Winston-Salem Police Academy have met all school requirements and regulations and have successfully completed all courses and activities that comprise the basic law enforcement training class?
Yes, ma'am.
Sergeant Hamilton, having providing assurance that the members of Class 72 of the Winston-Salem Police Academy have met all requirements which entitle them to receive a certification signifying successful completion of the Winston-Salem Police Department's prescribed training program, please present these students for graduation the receipt of their certificates and the badges of their office.
Yes, ma'am. First row, on your feet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is tradition with Academy graduation that as I call the name of each recruit, that they shall come forward and receive their certificate and be congratulated by the dignitaries down front. Additionally, as part of our ceremony, each member of Class 72 has selected someone to share in the honor of presenting him or her with the badge of their office and pinning it upon them for the first time. This badge of honor serves as a symbol of public faith. It is accepted as an acknowledgement of public trust and obligates those who wear it to extremely high standards of personal and professional conduct well beyond the expectation of the citizens you serve. Class 72, you are fully aware that not everyone can earn this badge. Be proud of your accomplishments and never tarnish the image of the badge you are about to receive. We would like for those friends and family members who've been selected to pin the badge onto their officer for the first time to please move to the far wall. You'll see the ladies from, or the members of behind the blue line. If you'll raise your hands, along that wall is pieces of tape on the ground that have the officer's name. If you'll move to that position, we'll begin to start the graduating or having them come across the stage. In keeping with the dignity of the ceremony, I ask that you hold your applause until after all graduates have recited the oath of office. Aaron Abrams. Lucas Allred. Bryce Bolin. Lauren Brown. Nicholas Farrell. Christopher Fisher. Logan Franklin. Patrick Gagan. Connor Haynes.
Row 2, on your feet.
Alex Hester. Jacob Hyatt. Shannon Inman. William Johnson. Brian Kessler. Evan Klein. Jason Close. Joshua Lancaster. Lucas Manning. Jonathan Mintz. Seth Pace. Darian Pender. Caleb Pettit. Jonathan Prisk. Matthew Rochelle. Bradley Schaefer. Alex Sirica. Alexander Smith. Tanner Somerville. Jesse Stidham. Jacob Teague. Jennifer Temis. Curtis Tucker. William Walker. Congratulations, guys. Proud of you.
Forward, march.
Now the oath of office will be led by Judge Carrie Vickery.
Good morning. I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Sergeant Hamilton, for the invitation. And on behalf of all of your judges here in Forsyth County, let me be the first to congratulate you on your imminent swearing in as officers. Another reason I'm so excited to be here is that you all are the happiest people I will see today. No one in here is going to jail. Everyone's smiling. It's a great day. The rest of my day won't work that way. I am just so pleased to administer this oath of office. At this time, I will have you all place your left hand on the Bible and raise the right. I, if you'll each go through and say your individual name.
Aaron Abrams, Bryce Boland,
Lauren Brown.
Nicholas Farrow, Christopher Fisher, Logan Franklin, Patrick Gagan, Connor Haynes, Alex Hester, Jacob Hyatt, Ben Inman, William Johnson, Brian Kessler, Evan Klein, Jason Close, Joshua Lancaster, Lucas Manning, Jonathan Pitts, Seth Pace, Darian Pender, Caleb Pettit, Jonathan Frisk, Matthew Rochelle, Bradley Schaefer, Alex Sirica, Alexander Smith, Tanner Somerville, Jesse Stidham, Jacob Teague,
Jennifer Temis.
Curtis Tucker, William Walker.
And repeat after me. Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will be alert and vigilant.
that I will be alert and vigilant
To enforce the criminal laws of this state.
to enforce the criminal laws of this state,
That I will not be influenced.
that I will not be influenced
In any matter.
in any matter
On account of personal bias or prejudice.
on account of personal bias or prejudice,
That I will support and maintain.
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States, and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith. And that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and execute the duties of my office as a law enforcement officer according to the best of my skill, abilities and judgment. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Class 72. You may be seated. We're going to invite Chief Thompson back to the stage.
Thank you. Congratulations, Class 72. I just want you all to know this class has worked extremely hard since October 9th, and I am so incredibly proud of them and happy for them. Will Attorney General Josh Stein please step to the podium, please? Sir, on behalf of Class 72 and the men and women of the Winston-Salem Police Department, we'd like to present this to you as a token of our appreciation for your time and your words of encouragement today, and in grateful appreciation for your support of Class 72. Thank you so much.
What an honor. Thank you.
Class 72, you are officially members of an elite group of highly trained police officers, and you're held by both the public and government to the highest standards of conduct. Those standards, known as the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics, is printed on today's program on page 11. I invite the audience to follow along as these new police officers join all sworn law enforcement personnel here today in reciting this code. We are led by Assistant Chief W.S. Weaver II.
Congratulations, Class 72. Thank you all, friends and family, for joining us today. The North Carolina Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission presents these Law Enforcement Code of Ethics. As a law enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men to liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others, honest in thought and deed. In both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duty. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of faith, and I accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement. Class 72, welcome to Field Services Bureau, Patrol Division. See some of you on Monday, see the rest of you on Friday. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We ask that you remain seated while the graduates and veteran officers exit the room. We thank you for coming today. Please join the recruits and staff out in the foyer and offer your congratulations there. The class will form up briefly for a portrait opportunity, and photographers will be here for the next few minutes to take photos. Sergeant Hamilton, please dismiss your class.
Dismissed.